And where is,
Behind you.
the Belleville Area District Library Board will please come to order. We will begin with the pledge to allegiance to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And I promise I'm not running for any office. Why else would somebody sit right in front of a flag? We will now go to item 2, which is our roll call, and I'll call on our secretary, Alma Hughes Grubbs.
Okay, Chavez, Jerica,
Present.
Peters,
Here,
Priest,
here,
Stoudemire, here, Hughes Grubbs, here, Fleming,
excused absent. He let us know a good little while ago that he wouldn't be able to be here. And now, it's time for approval of the agenda. We're all looking at it.
So moved.
Second. It's been moved by Jeriga and supported by Priest that the agenda be approved. This basically is our bare bones agenda. I didn't have any extras, but I didn't reach out to you all as early as I usually do. So if anybody has anything they want to add to the agenda, speak up now. I don't see it. So all those in favor of approving this agenda signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed by saying no. There are no opposing votes, so the agenda is approved. And now we have the minutes to approve the minutes of January 9th, and I understand that perhaps maybe we want to move the minutes and then
So moved.
adjust them. Yeah.
With correction.
Yeah, we want them, but there I understand the correction is in order, so it's been moved by Jeriga, who's asking for a correction. Is there a second? Second by Stoudemire. And John, will you explain your correction?
Yes, and the minutes here under number 3, it says selection of board officers motion by Jeriga. I was at the church across the road and I came really late, so I did not make that motion, but Joyce Havitz did.
Okey dokey, it was an confusion of initials, but so we will correct these minutes that the motion was made by Chehevitz and seconded by Priest to approve. No, that was the board dates. What's the, anyway, it is Chehevitz instead of Jeriga for the officers. Yeah, Jeriga and Stoudemire, I'm sorry, to read the right part of the minutes. Other than that, are there any corrections that we should make? Then I'll ask for the vote. All those in favor of approval of the minutes signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed by saying no. There are no opposing votes, so we are unanimously approving the minutes. I just love it when we're all in agreement. Of course, this is all very procedural. Now we have time for public comments, and we would love to hear from the public. Anything?
I have a public comment.
Good.
Did you guys see the report on WDIV?
Yes.
The drone of the library, oh my goodness, was just absolutely, the whole community looks so beautiful. I was really proud that, you know, we actually had our library done when the media came in and the new complex over Main Street. I was really proud to be here. I really, it was a really good report. Did you guys enjoy it?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Very good. It was on, they circulated it. I wonder, hopefully somebody can find a link to it. They had like 4 or 5 different little segments, but they covered different things. I was hoping they would cover the library, but they did show the library, and they referenced the library a time or two. so-
Right past the museum.
Yeah, they showed the museum, and I think Martha Hanoyan said something about coming, liking to be able to walk and come to the library and go to everything else, so. It was, I thought it was good too, and I thank you, Maria, for bringing that up. Anything else or any response on behalf of the board? Anything from you, Rosemary?
No, nothing.
Well, we're
Sorry, I
glad
missed
you're
it.
here with us. Well, thank you for public comments and thank you for coming to our meeting. Our committee reports are at this point. And we open with the building committee. And
I
you
have
don't have a formal report, but I think that trustee Juriga has a comment having to do with the
Yeah,
building.
having to do with Channel 4, thank you for bringing that up. Channel 4, obviously was in Belleville, did a decent program. They also talked to the, city, if, they asked the city if they could put a weather cam on their building. And, you know, they usually, on Channel 4, they say this is the weather, let's say this is Southfield and it's at the, city hall, and they show a picture of the city, right? And they brought it up that they were considering, having it at the city hall. They were asked by Channel 4 to do that. And then at the meeting, I recommended that they do that at the library instead, because we could get a good shot of the lake and the community. So,
And also they're
this,
talking about tearing down the city hall, aren't they?
yeah. And then they unanimously said, yes, we would like to have it at the library. And the next day I went to see Jason Smith, the city manager, and I asked him if he would call. He said he would call Channel 4 and search that further, see if they, you know, we would recommend having it at the library.
And well, maybe we want to talk about it here to make sure everybody's in agreement. And this is, it is mainly for weather, but they do drone camera stuff.
And then it's not a drone, it's just a camera
Just a
set on the
camera.
building, yeah.
Oh, I see that, but the camera would.
See, I would recommend that we okay it with the understanding that Mary Jo listened to all the pros and cons and she makes the decision.
And that I would like your thinking, if you have any at this time, Mary Jo or anybody else on the board. Any thoughts or concerns? Several heads are better than one. It's just good for us to all think about something.
You could say, keep it away from the bees.
Well, someone at city council, that'd be cool if the bees flew in front of it. They can announce, oh, they got bees at the.
I think it's just a matter of how to do it.
Exactly.
It would imagine.
It would not have to be under your guidance.
Right, it would, I don't know, I would imagine it would have involve having to drill through the roof. to
Yeah,
get
yeah.
to-
And I'd like you to make the final decision. This is your baby.
mhm. But it would be a great, I mean, some great scenery up there with the lake.
Besides, every time they showed a Belleville, they'd say it's on this, the roof of the Belleville City Library, you know, so. They always
Hopefully, one
introduce,
of the views could be the library.
Mhm.
That's what gives you the scenic
Library
roof.
parking lot.
With the BTs,
can I make that motion then,
um,
with the understanding? that-
or, I don't know, as the building committee, we don't always have motions. Is a motion necessary? I think advising the board and letting us all know, like we always
Okay.
do on all the
Right, okay.
building project things. But I don't know that we need to have a motion. If you, Madam Director, would like a motion, it's fine with me.
I don't think that we need a motion at this point. I think right now it's a matter of what WDID wants to do.
And if they want to do it
Yeah.
too.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and if it can be done without any risk to the.
Or
Liabilities, yeah.
defacing the building.
And I think maybe
Or
any
leaks.
concerns of privacy, patrons.
But it would be outside.
Yeah. It's facing the lake, it's okay.
But yeah, I mean, but yeah, that's all. Needs to be looked at.
Mhm.
Hmm.
That's all I have to say.
You let librarians put their mind to something, they come up with a different piece.
Yeah.
Well, good, John. Thank you for bringing that up. If you all read the Independent, you will see that John's comments of this type were already reported in Rosemary's Things She Knows. So, I think that readers of the paper are aware that it's a possibility this would happen, and I think it's appropriate that we've had a chance to talk about it here so that everybody knows it's formally on our plate. The possibility is formally before us. Good, anything else having to do with the building that anybody wants to talk about? We don't have any other little problems.
Just a small one that we're addressing. The heater in the entryway, it's powered by the steam heat, the radiant heat, and it sprung a leak.
What is it called?
It's there's a little heater in between the two doors and it started to
Pour down.
pour down quite copiously. So we learned a new thing. We learned how to turn that off.
Hopefully it didn't want any patrons
No.
or books.
So, and they have come out to repair that.
We
They had to
had,
install, they had to replace, there was a valve that stopped working.
and we had a couple days where we had those dryer things
Oh, yeah, I saw
sitting
that.
in the entryway, but
I saw
Other
that
than
on
that, I
Yale, but had a broken glass replacement on the.
That was from a little while ago, one
Oh.
of, I think a stone got thrown up and it hit one of the windows in the children's room.
Oh,
so
yeah,
they-
yeah.
They reached out to the glass people to repair for us.
okay. Good, thank you. Anything else on building that anybody on the building committee or not on the building committee wants to bring up? If not, we will move on to bylaws committee, and John, you will say,
I have no report.
and finance committee, Tanya, you got something for us?
I do, so included in your packet is the general fund budgetary comparison schedule for the first 6 months of the fiscal year. So the first page, the top half are our revenues. So the very first line, just kind of want to bring this to your attention, it's the major revenue source that we have, which are the current taxes. And the amount that we're showing in the 6 months actual is just identical to the 6-month budget amount. And that's because the actual taxes are collected the second half of the fiscal year. So that's why we, as a placeholder, will just put in the budget amount for the first 6 months. But for the report that you'll see for the end of the fiscal year, it will be the actual based on how much we collected. But that just doesn't occur until the second half of the fiscal year. So I just wanted to bring that to your attention.
Under it says, account 659000 says late fees. We don't charge.
Oh, no, it's the very first item, which is account 403, where it says current taxes less chargebacks.
Oh, I think
Yeah,
it's just.
I think
average,
John's bringing up a different.
Oh,
Yeah.
different concern? Oh,
Yeah,
okay,
sorry.
that's okay.
And answer me this.
Yes.
How can we have $2,000 in late fees if we don't charge late fees?
Although we do not charge late fees here, late fees follow the owning library's item. So if another library charges a fee, that charge will go on the patron's record. We will take it off. However, if someone is paying online, a lot of times they'll just pay it. So we get that money whether we want it or not.
Quite a bit of money. So we got that much? Wow.
So it adds up.
Hmm.
I'm trying to remember how much we used to collect. in
Yeah,
late fees. It was usually more like 15,000,
Yeah, it was,
18,000, so it's
substantial.
quite a bit less than that, so.
And from the,
whenever possible, we take that off of people's
I
accounts.
was saying $500, that's not
Yeah.
much.
and for the 34th District Court, we collected 36,000 on traffic tickets.
That was the
That's the-
2023.
That's the budget, and we actually, last fiscal year, we actually had collected 2 years worth of penal fines in 1 year because they were late the year before that. So this year, I'm hoping they're not late again, because otherwise you know,
Makes the numbers look funny.
it makes, yeah, it's really difficult to,
Okay, I'm sorry.
yeah.
Yep, nope, that's fine. So, I'll continue then with the expenditures. So here we start off with, the salaries. And you'll see that the budget for the salaries is the 1,160,000. For the year, our 6-month budget is the 580,000, so we're currently under budget by $84,000. Keep in mind, though, for the second half of the fiscal year, we actually did the pay adjustments, so our expenses will be a little bit more. Under account 981, books and acquisitions, the budget is actually 275,000 for the year, so we just do a half budget for the 6 months. But you'll see the 6-month actual is 93,000. So Mary Jo and I did talk about this, and it's just a timing issue. So we'll be on budget in terms of our purchases for our books and acquisitions. I think that's everything I want to bring to your attention on the first page. On the second page, the very first item is the audit. As you can see here, the actual is almost twice the budget, but that's because we paid that expense in full already.
We paid it, I didn't hear you.
We've already paid for the audit in full, so it was front loaded. It was
Oh,
paid
I-
in its
okay,
entirety,
okay.
yep, the first half of the fiscal year.
I believe workers' comp is the same. The insurance liability workers' comp, we get 3 bills a year, and it always kind of makes it be out of whack.
The other thing I wanted to bring to your attention, it's near the bottom, total utilities. And the budgeted number is the 86,000, the 6-month budget's the 43, and our actual is the 21,971, so we're significantly under budget right now with the utilities. Of
Is
course,
that just because we haven't needed as much heat, or is there something that we could treat
I
reasons?
think we budget more
We
than
do-
we
But
expect.
I mean, the utility costs are a lot less than
that we always think they're
than I
gonna
thought
be.
they were going to
Right.
be. We were very pleasantly surprised
Yeah.
by that.
Okay.
Like the,
And I
you know,
think
the-
that's been
the
happening
new
the last
building, yeah.
couple of years, we're trying to figure out just how much we need budget.
Yeah.
Well, also when we were building the building, we tried to think of, energy saving,
Mhm.
every kind of energy saving thing we could.
So you bought good equipment
Mm.
and then it's saving you money in the long
Yep.
run, which is good.
Yep.
Things like, the radiant heat is more cost effective and blowing heat, stuff like that.
And then the very last item here, Joe, I'm sorry, we didn't get a chance to talk about this one, I forgot to ask. But for hardware and software purchases, the budget is 80 for the year, 40,000 for the first 6 months, and we're just under 16, so I'm not really sure if that's a timing issue or if there's.
I think we will be under budget.
We will be,
with that,
okay.
yeah. Mhm.
So going to the last page. These are just the miscellaneous expenses. And you can see we are also currently under budget for these expenses as well. The 6-month actual is only $5,000. I think a lot of the expenses kind of occur in the spring, so as it relates to the travel. And we haven't really spent that much on new equipment and office furniture either, but I
Or
think that depends on the need. So overall, you'll see our total expenditures for the year are just over $1 million. And when you compare that to a 6-month budget, we are under budget by $226,000. And then when you compare that to the revenues, which were unfavorable by just under $8,000. And then that's how you get to that total of 218,757 for favorable amount for the first half of the fiscal year. So potentially that could be twice that number by the end of next fiscal year, but we'll continue to monitor.
Thank you. Are there questions?
What are the grants? Grants and the revenues of grants?
That's the telecommunications grant.
Oh, make a motion to approve accounts payable. I mean, I guess I don't need to make a motion for the budget. We're not even on accounts payable.
Yeah, I was saying,
I
yeah.
know this room, but.
So we're not on accounts payable, and the information that the treasurer just gave us is for information purposes.
Yeah.
So, again, we don't need to make a
Coming
motion.
up.
But our trustee Chehevitz is eager to make a motion, but she'll just hold off.
I'll make her feel good. I'll make the motion.
Well, we have, do we have anything else on finance to
That's
talk
it.
about?
Yeah, that's all. I
You
have.
do?
No, I don't have anything
Okay.
else.
Okay. And does anybody else?
I do, but I'm afraid to bring it up. I notice,
Oh, no.
Oh,
When
come
you say
on,
stuff
John.
Like that, John.
section 8 on the second page, section 807,000 says architect, $10,000. I thought we're done with this building.
We're never gonna be done with this building. There's always, projects are gonna pop up from time to time.
So we use those
so I-
for
I just-
consultants.
So I just-
Issues are gonna
yes.
come up.
Yeah. In fact, I did actually consult with the, Jennifer, the
Furniture lady.
furniture.
The
um,
Interior.
the interior person to-
design.
to look at some options for some furniture in the, entryway area.
Okay,
So that, we have not received any kind of bill for that yet, because that's still in progress. but
okay.
Certain things like that, we're gonna probably want to consult with them, so we just kind of have that as a placeholder.
Okay,
If
thank you.
if we end up putting a weather cam on the roof, we might need to consult with
Really?
with somebody,
We
so,
can't-
or with
We
only.
can't make that decision, huh?
Well,
Well,
we're gonna
we
need
have
to
to,
talk.
it would impact the roof, and I think we should talk to the architect.
If it
before-
does impact. the roof.
Before we stick something.
Right.
on the roof.
There's probably wiring and stuff you have to worry about too. So.
Well, I
We
don't-
need-
Your idea.
John, John comes up with these big ideas. and then-
I didn't know that.
Then he wants to fight him.
Just stick it
He
up.
wanted to
Right.
put it out there.
Nice.
Yeah, sort of runs there.
Just drill a hole through the roof,
John's gonna use bubble gum.
get some bubble gum to
Yes.
seal.
Let's just carry on.
You might be sorry.
I'm sorry.
As you usually are when and plus you don't have Dan here to sit
That's
over there
right.
and kind of
Yeah, yeah.
balance, so that now you just get to be overruled
Yeah.
all the time. Poor John.
It's okay. I can handle it.
Okay, marketing committee report.
No report.
I have a item I'd like to bring up. It's not a report, it's just an idea. That might need, attention from the marketing committee and attention from the vice chair. And that is, the possibility, I've been thinking about the possibility of an event specifically between our board, planned between our board and the Friends of the Library, which of course, anything either one of us does involves the staff of the library. But to encourage people's understanding of the Friends and people's value as Friends. When we've rested a little bit from the big planning we did for the grand opening and the donor event. But when the donor event happened, major donors were all, part of their package was Friends, lifetime membership with the Friends. I went to the Friends annual meeting this year. It was sparsely attended. It was very cold that day. But I also heard the members of the Friends, certain ones more than others, speaking about why didn't we get more people. I think that we could encourage, but I don't know, I did come to the Friends board meeting Saturday and talked about the possibility of an event together. And there was interest. Nobody is, we're not passing motions or anything because we don't even know what we're gonna do. We did talk with Mary Jo about if we wanted to do something, what would be the timing that wouldn't be disruptive to what the library already has planned on the calendar. And the timing was because we wanted it in fairly good weather. The timing was kind of narrowed down to probably mid-September, not to get late enough to mess around with Harvest Fest. So that is a possibility. I have mentioned it a couple of times to Linda, and Linda being a former chair of the Friends and also a member of the marketing committee, has agreed to look into it. Donna Gilkey-Lavin is now the chair of the Friends again, and she has always been involved with when we've done anything. And I was wondering if there's any thoughts from the rest of you about such a thing.
What's the goal? Is it to get to know each other better? Is it interpersonal, or is it?
I don't know, that it could be, but the goal I had in mind was to encourage membership of the Friends and also to encourage involvement of those who are members of the Friends, to bring people into the library and get them to look around. It might be some other ways to build it. Mary Jo and I talked a little while, there could be ways to enhance involvement from community organizations in the library and to use an event like that. That special event, when we talked about it with the Friends, it wasn't even for sure whether people would want to try and do a public event like during regular library hours or a private event to pull people in like the donor event was. And Donna was talking about how after she had worked and helped plan the donor event, they ended up getting sick and couldn't come to that. And you couldn't come to the grand opening, you couldn't come to the donor, and you couldn't come, which obviously will happen, that we'll miss key things, but those were such lovely events and they really were well received by the community. So it really is a thought in my head that for us to kind of continue to leverage, we don't want to wear out our staff though, and we likely don't want to try and do something quite at the level that those two opening events were, but maybe some kind of something. Also, it was in my mind, the Friends one of the questions at the Friends meeting that somebody brought up was, why weren't the elected officials there, which they often are invited. And it turned out that they hadn't been invited that time. People were overwhelmed and didn't invite them to it. It was a terribly cold day, but they had an event in the fall that was a cider and donuts event. And it happened to be on the same day as the pancake supper, a pancake breakfast that was for VBT. And anyway, Kevin McNamara and Debbie Dingle and a few other people came to the Friends event. And Kevin McNamara talked to me afterwards and he was kind of confused about, he didn't know, he was he thought the Friends and the board were the same. And
Wow.
he was introduced to the chair of the Friends and he thought maybe I had been booted out or something.
I could see doing an event that is promoting the Friends and we are, we're inviting folks and trying to raise membership for the Friends.
Yeah.
And
And
And the board is
engagement,
involved in-
engagement from the Friends, not just being a member, but, kind of engaging with the library. That's my thinking. I don't have anything more than that I was thinking about, but there could be more or there could be less.
We could
maybe.
have an exploratory meeting, sometime and just talk about it and see what we come up with. If you think that would be appropriate.
Yeah, and if you wanted to, would Alma, in your view as chair of that board, that committee, would it be okay to let Linda be the point person for this? She and Donna have a good relationship. If you and Donna might just have some little,
Or maybe have her be at that meeting, would that be? good?
yeah, either have a committee
that.
meeting, however you guys think about it, but that
Okay.
was,
We can talk about it,
Yeah. the marketing committee, it's taken all these couple of years now to recuperate from when we did do these events. It was a lot of work, but it was so much fun. Easy for me to, well, it was a lot of work. The personnel committee, we talked about the personnel policies and but Dan isn't here. Is there anything on that? Did we decide?
Were we having a joint meeting
At-
with policy?
At some
and
point, we'll
personnel?
probably have some kind of either joint committee or ad hoc committee meeting.
Okay.
Yeah.
When he gets back and just
So-
talk about it.
And and the personnel, they aren't quite ready yet anyway, right?
Not
I
quite,
mean, the
although,
draft,
yeah, we're getting closer. So, I think what I'd like to do is have a preliminary meeting about that and then talk to an attorney.
Oh,
okay. But that's still moving along.
Yeah.
I was just remembering what we talked about last month at this time. And then the policy committee, that issue straddles item E and item F, the personnel committee and the policy committee. And the art committee? You did say something.
Yeah, I was talking with Michelle Montour. And, I'd like to actually have a policy committee meeting to discuss it.
Oh, I,
There's something we'd like to tweak again on the art committee member policy. Something that I don't think we didn't think we really needed anymore. Regarding staggering terms of service on a 3-year.
right,
schedule.
we had a lot of detail in there, trying to get that art committee started, and remember, we didn't even have a building and had no idea of how the art would work. And there was quite a bit of detail about terms and staggering the terms, and we might have gotten ourselves into a box to where everybody is over their term, over their time.
Oh,
We don't want to lose the art committee.
yeah.
So, we might want to do a little bit of a policy change on that. But as far as the art committee and the work with the arts and the community and all of that, it's been going swimmingly. It has really exceeded what I, anticipated it might be able to do.
So are you thinking you're just not gonna have terms, or what are you thinking?
I think we're looking at having it be whoever, like, for example, if Baca has a member, it's up to them to determine
How
who they
long
want, and
serve.
how long. If the Friends have a member, it's up to them to determine.
Oh, okay. So it
We're
won't be,
doing it that way, so
It won't
Yeah.
be that
the
there's a
for the
hard
library board,
ending.
it's up to the board to say.
so then
that-
is it like an
yeah.
addendum under the policy?
Well, I think we can just, I think we
Just
can
say
just,
it's up to them, so refer to that, or to refer to them.
Yeah, well, the policy committee might
yeah,
have
the
to,
committee can look at it.
they
see
might
what
have
they-
to
yeah,
remove
how
some
they want to do
language.
it, but I think they can just omit something. out of it.
Strike
Okay.
them.
Just that and put it in there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you. Yeah, that was the thing about the art committee. Now,
Your turn.
Joy, we are at item 7 for approving of accounts payable, and I know that somebody is just bubbling to make a motion.
I'd like to make a motion to approve accounts payable.
I'll second that.
It's been approved by moved by Chehevitz and seconded by Juriga that our current accounts payable be approved, our current accounts payable list be approved. The list is in your board, all the board packets for the board and the public. And many of the things are things we look at most every month. Lawn and snow. Anyway, are there any questions? Is there anything that people wanna, you'll see that our program people, some of our program people, their payments are in here. A bunch of books are in here,
The
so.
jazz program was outstanding. We had, what, 65 people?
Mhm.
Something like that.
It was really good and.
And people have been asked, can we have other kinds of music? That, or more of that programs. It was really, really well attended,
We had a lot of good,
especially in the
Love
winter
it.
time when we need entertainment,
Yeah,
And
something different.
nice and close. I think people like that they go on entertainment, it's just a few blocks away
Yeah.
Mhm.
in this weather.
Yeah,
yeah.
And the movie was well.
Well, and that's something that they talked about at the Friends meeting, that the movies that the Friends have been sponsoring, the movies and the music are kind of nice chances to have some entertainment, have the library be a venue for entertainment.
Sure.
We joked about calling it a date night, that you could come to the library for your free date night, your cheap dates.
And the tables are nicely set up, it does feel.
Well,
a
our
little bit like a
staff
day.
does a great job.
That's nice.
So that was good. The, when you're speaking about programs, this Maurice Imhoff, second from the bottom, he did the civil rights, a civil war, the program about Michigan's involvement in the Civil War. It was excellent. And he's a young guy. He's only 22 years old. His presentation sounded like a seasoned professor talking about that history. And he talked about such a pointed and minute, a narrow scope, just specifically what happened in Michigan and how it was perceived, and he was really very good. A number of the friends were there, all the people that were there spoke about it being good. There was a guy who just made a comment to the man similar to what I just said, who I didn't even recognize. It's a patron of our library that I don't see a lot, so I think it was appreciated by everybody who came. I'm really pleased with the quality of programs that we
that's what I wanna have at my building,
put on here.
That one?
when I finally have an open building.
I want you to get a building. That's what I
What's
want.
happening?
Yeah, we will in the future have that program on the Underground Railroad, but it's
Yeah,
basically,
yeah.
it's basically in Detroit Underground Railroad. I think it came through this area
Well, it
too.
came through all kind of, Cassopolis and all that, and,
Excellent.
Some old.
but it's certainly through this area.
Some old history
Sumter.
teacher told me that that's how Liberty Street got its name,
Oh,
because it was used as part of the Underground Railroad. So I need to know
I
more
wonder
locally.
if the Huron River was, rivers were really important in the
Yeah.
Underground Railroad. So
Don't know.
maybe
It was
Liberty.
totally
Street.
different back then.
I saw this,
Yeah, oh, yeah, it
It
was,
been damned.
right, right.
I saw this program that they're gonna present from the museum. It was an excellent program, worth seeing, even though it's about Detroit and the churches and
Which
how-
museum?
Underground Railroad,
Uh-huh.
talking about that. It
Uh-huh.
was at the museum years ago, and it was an excellent program. But again, it centers about Detroit and not other areas, but
Well,
it's a start.
There's a house on Green Street that has place underneath. It was open for a tour of houses years ago here in Belleville.
where is it?
It's on Green Street, just off High Street.
Brain Street, I
And they
remember.
had
that
a
street.
high
That was
place.
that was an Underground
It
Railroad
was one of the.
spot.
One of the stops.
So there are places here.
Yeah.
Yeah, it
They
was
don't
through the year.
That would be a good. Yeah. You know, too, I've been watching Masters of the Air. I don't know if anybody's watching it on Apple about World War II. And my dad was in the Air Force. He flew in a B-17. So we went over over to the Yankee Air Museum, and they have wonderful talks on that.
Yeah.
And so I'd like to see something on that too, because now I'm researching my dad's. Well, he flew 32 missions.
Wow.
You've watched that, I can't even imagine doing one, let alone 30.
Yeah,
32
yeah.
and survived
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think in a B-17,
the death
he was
wish.
shot at.
Well, I'm glad we're all probing thinkers because we've had such a nice discussion, but we're actually talking about the accounts payable.
You were just starting to do it.
And we still have the motion on the floor.
So it was
So
seconded to, wasn't it?
it's properly moved and seconded. And if everybody's ready, maybe we should vote it so that we can go on and talk about programming in a minute. All in favor of approving the accounts payable, please signify by saying aye. Those opposed by saying no. The ayes have it. And also we had a very enriching conversation, which appropriately came right before the director's report, which will give us a chance for another enriching conversation.
You guys did my report for me already.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we have had some really good programs, very, very impressive. I echo what you said, the jazz program was phenomenal. The Maurice Simhoff program was really good. Turn your attention also to our youth department. They had a Bluey party, and if you don't have kids or grandkids, you might not know who Bluey is, so I had to actually do a little bit of research myself.
Great.
So he's a children's TV character. We had a Bluey party on Saturday, February 3rd, and we probably had about 150 people in the
Wow.
library doing various activities and games,
It's
etc.
an
So,
Australian dog family.
yeah.
We did that on Ipsy, and it was outside, thank goodness. It was like, I never heard of Bluey before.
Oh,
I
you
do
don't?
have grandchildren, but they hadn't watched it at my house, so,
Okay.
yeah, so now we have to watch a little bit of Bluey.
So it was
Louis is the
very
thing.
popular.
Well,
Entertaining for adults too.
I'm soon to see my grandchildren. I want to be up on everything.
Ask them. So,
What about the stuffy party? How did that go?
I don't think we've had that yet.
Oh,
I think that's coming up still.
it sounds so fun.
Yeah. What else? Yes, as John said, I've got a couple of upcoming programs, and they're actually being co-sponsored between the library and the Belleville Rotary Club, so 2 weeks from tonight, February 27th, midnight, Detroit and the Underground Railroad. And that's gonna be at 6:30. And then next week, same day, same as the board meeting, Tuesday, March 12th, the potato famine, the coming of the Irish to America. And that will also be co-sponsored between the library and the Rotary Club.
So we can't have our meeting in the middle of that program.
Well,
Is the program at 6:30?
the program's at 6 and should
Oh,
be
it's
able
6,
to
so,
at least come from.
yeah, the program.
Part of the program.
Yeah, you could get a lot of it before we have our meeting. Okay, that's good.
So, then I did include a couple of articles for you. One from the Librarian of Congress at interview, I thought was very interesting.
That's what come here.
And then another article, just about the epidemic of, they declared it a public health epidemic of loneliness in the country, a lot of it's partly in part stemming from COVID, but other factors as well. But basically talking about, the role of the library and kind of helping to alleviate that. And I know personally, I see people at our library who, we have regulars who come every day, and I think they come in part, you know, to use our library, but also for human contact.
And you're right. It's very significant for people, in the library, and they do line up first thing in the morning, and they're waiting there, and it's important for them, is another, you know, the socialization, so.
I read some of this thing. I really like the idea of the longest table.
Yeah.
A
I
what?
don't know how we could incorporate it, but I would really like to be involved in that. It's
we
called the
have a-
longest
yeah.
table, and you should read about it in your board back when.
Okay,
I came early, so I was reading it.
oh, yeah, oh, yeah,
It's
And-
really
and
fascinating. It's a
here the
communal eating
picture.
event, but it promotes conversation between people. So you sit at a table with, you get a ticket, you sit at a table with all different people. And there's like a person who's a leader who has a series of questions to just get the conversation started.
yeah,
And then, but you're eating a communal meal.
Mhm.
And it's just really what people need, to talk to each other, and not people you know, but just, you know, if you're in a community, you can talk about issues, and that's, I don't know what the questions would be, that would be something that we would have to do, but it just sounds like something we'd be good at.
I was just looking at this article here, the libraries that are a safe place to discuss the ideas.
Mhm.
And your idea with the table and the food and stuff, and coming library, is you could discuss things as long as it's not politics.
Right,
It
right,
could be
as long as
very,
you're
that
respectful.
could be very dangerous. Well, people are not
Well,
always
you're gonna have
respectful.
questions though.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
that kind of
Yeah.
tailors the conversation.
That's the scary part, you just stay and sit.
Yeah, and and the person, the commentator would probably get some instruction to kind of
Yeah.
move the conversation away from that.
Yeah.
Away from all.
Well, I think, you know, the library is one of the few places where people from all walks of life do come together. Um. And, you know, so often I think we end up kind of siloed off into our own little, groups, and, you know, this is an opportunity to bring people together to talk and get to know each other.
Mhm.
Even just some of the basic, you know, other programs that we do, you know, it's nice to see, you know, people coming together.
And they said it was $15 per guest, but you can sponsor somebody, so that, because you want people who can't afford to come too.
That is a lot of money to some
For
people.
some people, but, and then you could get people in the community, businesses or something.
Yeah.
Sponsor people, so it's not excluding anyone.
Sure.
Excellent, and there is still another movie, there was a movie last week,
There was a movie last week.
and it was seemed to be
There
enjoyed, I
was
wasn't
about-
able to be there.
There's good attendance, we had about 20 people in the audience. And the next movie is Strangers on a Train.
Both Alfred Hitchcock.
Yeah, we're kind of focusing on Alfred Hitchcock this time, but we are taking a segue into Orson Welles in April. Doing Citizen Kane.
Ooh,
So there's an Orson Welles exhibit at U of M that runs through April 29th, so this kind of piggybacks onto that.
Barbara's doing a tour.
Barbara Miller's trying to get together a tour to go see the exhibit.
Mhm.
And then we'll go back to Alfred Hitchcock in May for Psycho.
Oh, boy.
It's nice because he has us look for things in the movie, you know, he'll give you, like, this time it was twos. How Alfred Hitchcock used the number 2, and that was, I mean, my husband was really into it. Good for that. Well, a lot of people were though.
Yeah.
And then you have to look for him because he makes an appearance in every movie.
yeah,
So, and then other little things that he has you look for, so you're really paying attention to the
Huh.
movie.
Boy, my mother used to love Alfred Hitchcock Presents, and I would get on the top stair where she couldn't see me, so I could try and watch, although I couldn't see very well. And I didn't
Scary
understand
for a
half
little
of it.
kid.
I didn't, maybe it is good I was in a blur and didn't really understand what was going on, because otherwise I would have been scared.
There's always some kind of movie.
Yeah.
So that's all I've got.
Oh, that was very good. And we are moving toward the wrap up of our
thank you.
the wrap up of our, meeting. And so now, board members, the length of our meeting remaining depends on you. It's time for the board members to make their comments. And who wants to start?
Uh,
John,
um,
I don't think that's what he was starting for.
well,
me to start, John?
you are starting off. Right.
Statement. This is tax time and a lot of times people have a lot of papers to shred because they want to get rid of stuff. So I feel the library should have a truck in the parking lot once a month, beginning of the month, probably on a Saturday, where people can bring their papers to get shredded. And the library pay for it, because I don't believe you should have a shredder in the library, because I've been already burned out 2 of them. So, because they don't last very long.
You burned out 2 library shredders
Two
or 2 at
shredders.
home?
Our Whitaker Road has done that a couple times, and for some reason, it always brings a lot of people.
Do you remember how much it cost?
No,
To bring
but I
that
could
truck?
find out.
Okay.
from Paula.
I think that'd be so cool.
Yeah, they've also done electronic recycling, because that's like a big deal.
Yeah,
Van Buren Township does the paper shredding in August and maybe sometime else, but for my money, it does kind of encourage me to get rid of some
Sure.
stuff and,
we all have
I
very
think
important
it would be a
papers.
nice, and John made a good point, tax time is a time when you, I think I had.
I wouldn't do it once a month, but,
You
you
wouldn't?
know,
No.
no, but we could do it once a year.
And maybe if we would coordinate.
I don't think
it-
people would have their, excuse me, I don't think people would have saved their papers until once a year.
Well,
You save them for 20 years.
Right.
right, that's what I'm.
I have
thinking.
files cabinets full of crap.
I'm better organized.
Oh, yeah,
He has a
right.
file cabinet.
I throw stuff out every 7 years, whether it needs it or not.
Well, the good thing about the library doing it, and I don't know about Van Buren, but I know Ipsy Township, they have shredding, but you have to be an Ipsy Township resident when the library does it, and we're serving all 3 communities and everybody.
Yeah,
I think we should try something like that.
when Van Buren Township did it, I am a resident of Van Buren Township, but I don't think I had to show them.
I don't know.
You know, once you get the equipment there, I think they just wanna be able to
Keep using it.
and do something with it rather than stand around. So anyway, it might be good to double check where the public, like, not do it right around the time that, Van Buren Township was doing. They've been doing it for some years, but, to do it some other time of the year. I don't know if I wanna bring my stuff out in the middle of the cold seasons. April,
I think they
John
do it
said
this
April.
summer.
Anyway. Amen.
that's another one of John's ideas. If it starts costing anything though, and it shows up on the accounts payable, then who's gonna be the first one to? But it's something to look into. So you're suggesting Mary Jo look into it?
It's, I think the library issue, we should look into it, yes. She's got enough to do, she could delegate.
I'll
She's
find
learning.
out how
We
much
did
it
a
costs.
shred day a long time ago, so I'll have
Did
to
you?
see how much it cost us.
Yeah.
So is that your,
That's my comment.
trustee comment?
That's it. That's it. There
Okay,
ain't no more.
John. Who's next?
If I can say something, so, every month I always see events occurring that I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go to this one. My pledge now is to do a better job of attending, a lot of the programs that we have here.
You won't
'cause,
be sorry.
Yeah, afterwards, I'm like, man, I wish I had been there, so yeah, I gotta do a better job.
Well, you've got a number of jobs.
Yeah.
And you do them all very well, but it would be nice for you to be able to,
I would
it's kind
enjoy
of like the
that.
benefit, we put in thinking and work on this. And, here we have another member of the public. We have a member of the public.
Hi.
Former chair, we've just been talking about the Friends, the former chair of the Friends, now she's the vice,
Katarina.
as of last Saturday, she's the vice chair, Katarina Time. And we're almost ready to adjourn, so you might as well stay here till the end of the meeting.
Well, speaking of that, I'm really looking forward to working with the marketing committee, and we've got some good ideas to do some, programming or something, and we'll have to
Joint
set some things up.
activity.
Joint activity with the friends we want to do.
Yeah.
So,
Sounds nice.
yeah, so we wanna, Al and I are gonna meet with somebody, probably Donna or you, or somebody, and get something figured out.
Great, and who's next? It's down to Joy and Alma.
I know Alma wants to be last. I just want to thank Tanya and Mary Jo. They always make the budgeting look so easy. And I appreciate that, and the articles that you provide us. I always come up with new ideas myself. I'm like, maybe we could do the longest table for a grand opening.
Or,
Would be-
when you reopen?
Yeah.
Yeah,
You know
that
when
would be
that's
fun, and invite us and we can come on.
They today put up a construction sign. The permits are there. We are starting the reconstruction.
Oh, good.
So you're just staying home with your feet up.
No.
That's it.
She's an itinerant librarian, you send her everywhere.
Well, you would know how to act if you didn't have.
I know, I feel bad because I never attend anything. I feel like I'm always working on the night. I work every Thursday night. And I think the day of the Friends meeting, I was working that day. So it just,
But Ricky was there.
yeah.
You were represented.
Yeah.
Alma, you can't get out of it anymore. It's your turn.
No, just wanted to thank Mary Jo as well as her staff. I think they do an excellent job of putting programs together that's really appreciated by the community. And I don't know what they were having downstairs this evening, but
Rotary.
Rotary.
yeah, there were a lot of cars, so it's always good to see that when you pull in to the parking lot.
Well, now it's time for the chair's comment. The first thing I want to say is I will keep my fingers crossed too, that Tanya and all the rest of my colleagues on here can begin to get some enjoyment of the fruits of their labor. And that's how I feel when I go to our different programs in this library, that the work we put in really brings fruit, and it's enjoyable. You get some joy for it, so. And it's, even if I can't go to it, I'm glad that the community is enjoying. I also want to say this is like a significant night. Here it is, Mardi Gras. My family, my kids, some of my kids live in New Orleans. They've been Mardi Gras-ing it up, because down there it's a season and they have the parades for weeks and all this. So I want to say happy Mardi Gras to everybody. Also, tomorrow is Valentine's Day.
That's right.
Happy Valentine's Day to everybody, and for those who observe it, Ash Wednesday, and I wish those who observe it a profound and meaningful Ash Wednesday. So we're right in the middle of a lot of different, and many based in cultural background and religious background, and so we celebrate in this library just about everything we can think of to celebrate. So I celebrate the library, the people that make up this board and staff and our friends. And I'm glad to now see for John to see if he might make a motion.
Before that, I got to make a statement. Tomorrow, 21 years ago, I had 7 bypasses on my heart,
Wow.
and I'm glad they worked.
Yeah,
Under that note, I make a motion
Wow.
that this meeting be adjourned.
I'll
that
second that.
It's been moved by Jarita, seconded by Priest, that the meeting be adjourned, and there is support all around the room. Oh, our meeting is adjourned.